Bitcoin is making new all-time highs. The market is prepared for 100K. It's likely days away. Huge news. We're going to cover the Bitcoin options. They're huge. It's a massive deal. MicroStrategy hit a $100 billion market cap today and upsized their debt offering to $2.6 billion to smash buy more Bitcoin. CNBC, they're calling for a $300,000 Bitcoin price. Let's just dive straight into it this morning. Bitcoin Archive. Justin, Bitcoin ETF options trading on day one indicates the price of Bitcoin will double in the next month. Bloomberg's Eric Balashunas. We're going to come back to this. Keep that one in mind. Saylor's MicroStrategy is the most traded stock in the US today. Pretty historic day. Given huge demand, high demand, Michael Saylor says we upsized our MicroStrategy offering of 0% convertible bonds due 2029 from 1.75 billion to 2.6 billion, including a 400 million green shoe option priced at a 55% conversion premium. We're going to dive deeper into that. Nayib Bukele absolutely crushing it. Hooray, after a long time. Most Salvadorian bonds are now trading near or above par. Stay tuned. Just keeps on winning. And then Bitcoin Archive again, MicroStrategy, the most traded stock so far today, and is up 14%. It did hit $111 billion market cap. Absolutely amazing. Join the top 100. Now, Bitcoin options, they have arrived. Let's dive into a 2-minute 40 video, pure signal. Let's go.
So the price of Bitcoin near an all-time high, getting closer now to the $94,000 level. And this happening as ETF options going live, giving investors a new way to hedge their exposure. Kenzie Segalis is here, joins us with more this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Andrew.
So what's going on?
Is what U.S. crypto investors have been waiting for. On Tuesday, the Nasdaq listed options on BlackRock's $44 billion spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, day one of trading showed that more than 80% of options volume were call orders to buy Bitcoin, meaning that investors are betting that the token is poised for even more gains. And this is just the first of the U.S.-based.
Just really quickly, Bitcoin is looking like it's going to probably smash through a new all-time high. We may get 95K here live on a stream. We'll dive into it. It's like 94,986, I think, was the last all-time high. A couple of hours ago. Let's go.
Based asset issuers to offer options. The other 10 providers will soon follow suit, with several more slated to list on the New York Stock Exchange later today. Now, this is really a significant moment for Bitcoin adoption, because rather than just buying and holding the asset, this next stage is all about creating a new margin framework for Bitcoin so that you can amplify your returns. Being able to hedge positions and make leveraged bets is a big draw both to retail and to institutions. And even though we've seen a lot of trading volume on the CME derivatives exchange, getting options tied to these spot crypto products on the Nasdaq and NYSE is a big unlock for traders, because ultimately, Andrew, a more robust onshore derivatives market is how you attract fresh investment, which is a tailwind for the price of Bitcoin.
It really boggles the mind what I was just thinking about.
It really boggles the mind. Let's keep going.
You could write calls. You could write calls. You could buy puts to protect your downside. You could sell puts to acquire Bitcoin at a lower price than where it is. You can do spreads. You can do straddles. The volatility is so high, the option premiums must be exorbitant. So you could sell options.
But so the question is, does the volatility come down materially?
And that's what a lot of analysts say will happen.
Yeah. And if that happens, but does that then put a cap on it, or does that?
Can it happen? Because that's a tail wagging the dog. Because Bitcoin is in here. Yeah, but by definition, Bitcoin has been volatile. Do you think options really could lessen the volatility of the underlying asset?
I mean, that's what some analysts are saying, especially as you build out a more robust market infrastructure around this, you bring in more institutional money. And what I will say in terms of like building out what you can do with these spot crypto products, you've got Grayscale updating its prospectus just this week to do a covered call ETF for Bitcoin. So you're seeing that those are the products that these issuers are indexing toward, rather than having spot funds around all of these altcoins.
Because you just mentioned 80% of the volume is in calls, so that must mean they're rich premiums, and the calls, you could sell those, and if it doesn't hit it, you just keep that premium.
Exactly.
There's going to be a lot of financial engineering games going on. Exciting times. Let's dive into the price. So 94,247. That was a few minutes before I went live. We are at 94,568. 456, not 7. Up and to the right. Last 24 hours, let's take a look. 94,891 was the high. 891. I reckon we're going to break it on stream. 100K in play potentially by the end of the week. A low That's crazy. $91,521. Last 7 days, it's actually a pretty small move. 87,388 from the lows up to the highs that we saw in the last 24 hours. We'll continue to watch the price, but a couple of things. British Hodl just celebrating their MicroStrategy above $100 billion market cap. It has come just back down. But it's super interesting. This video here, it's a screen recording of an X space, but Michael Saylor is going to present to the Microsoft board next month, 10th of December. They've given him a 3-minute spot, and Michael Saylor dives into a little bit more. Can Michael Saylor encapsulate Bitcoin before they go to vote in 3 minutes? I don't know. It'll be pretty interesting, but I'll bring it up and we'll play it.
Microsoft is facing a shareholder vote next month that would force the board to evaluate Bitcoin as a treasury asset, to which the board replied, "We already do evaluate it. This proposal is unnecessary." So just curious, do you think that these types of shareholder proposals are a good way or the best way to push Bitcoin as a reserve, or do you think there's other ways that folks on the call here could help catalyze greater adoption?
Well, first of all, I think it's a perfectly fine way to do it. And the activists that put that proposal together contacted me to present to the board, and I agreed to provide a 3-minute presentation. That's all you're allowed, and I'm going to actually post that online, and I'm going to present it to the board of directors. We also offered to withdraw that proposal if Satya Nadella would meet me, and I said I would fly to wherever he is and meet him in confidence in his office for an hour to discuss. But that offer was not accepted. So you will see me putting together the 3-minute proposal for Microsoft, and it'll get posted, and we'll send it to the board. And I think it's a good and not a bad idea to put it on the agenda of every company. It ought to be put on the agenda at Berkshire Hathaway and Apple and Google and Meta, because they all have huge hoards of cash. They're all burning shareholder value. And the approach of an Apple is 98.5% of the enterprise. The approach of Microsoft is 98% value is levered to quarterly earnings, and 1.5% of the value of the stock is tangible assets. And it would be a lot more stable stock and a much less risky stock if half the enterprise value of the stock was based upon tangible assets or property like Bitcoin. So I think there's a great argument to be made. I think shareholders should make it. We're preparing materials, and we're enthusiastic advocates. And if anybody's got an entree to the board of a company with massive amounts of capital, I'm happy to help.
What a legend. What an absolute legend. Well, I look forward to that 3-minute video. That's pretty rapid fire for Michael. It's usually long answers, but for them to be willing to do it, I think they're sitting on $76 billion worth of cash, or is it 86 billion? It's an extraordinary amount of money. Microsoft being influenced by MicroStrategy would be a huge deal. It'd set. Mainstream media is starting to get a little bit bullish, talking about Bitcoin. We're going to dive into them talking about a $300,000 Bitcoin price. But I don't think there'd be anything like what's happening now is anything compared to if Microsoft went in. I think they'd really start to get excited. A lot of people would start paying attention, but we'll come back to this. So just to be clear, with Eric Balashun is saying Bitcoin's going to double over the next month. Just to clarify, there's one contract that has people betting on a double. Overall, 83% of the betting was on the price higher in the future. That's more reasonable, yet still optimistic takeaway, I think. 200 million so far in options volume and IBIT, a ton for day one. Here's a rank of the contracts by volume. It's almost all calls. Seems very bullish, especially the December 20th C100, which is basically betting the price of Bitcoin will double in the next month. So diving into MicroStrategy, they upsized their debt offering to $2.6 billion. And I just want to say a quick shout out to everyone watching live, watching the replay. Good morning. If you can smash the like button, it means a lot to me. It will help push the Bitcoin signal, because we are still under 100K, barely. It's going to come too quick, way too quick. Anyway, it breaks into the top 100 US public companies by market cap. It's just $100 a week. They've got a $100 million market cap. Bitcoin's probably going to hit $100,000, and they're in the top 100 US public companies by market cap. Now, the company stock is up over 500% year to date, approaching 100 billion market cap. Well, it hit that. It has come just back under. It was like $96 billion before I went live. MicroStrategy is broken in the top 100 US publicly traded companies. Shares are up another 6% pre-market after Bitcoin moved to a new record high, and the company upsized its latest capital raise to 2.6 billion. It was a measly 1.75 billion. He's just unstoppable. The Matrix. So shares rose further on Wednesday morning as Bitcoin added to its record high, and the company upsized 0% convertible debt offering to 2.6 billion from the previous announced 1.75 billion. Proceeds are to be used to purchase more Bitcoin. What else would you buy? There is no second best. At press time, the stock was higher by 6.6% pre-market and 528% year to date. Unstoppable. The force behind Bitcoin and the options they attract $2 billion on day one, shifting Bitcoin's market structure. Couple of points, takeaways. On their first day, IBIT options amassed nearly $2 billion in notional exposure, an unusual volume for new options. More call options were traded compared to puts. 4.4 to 1 ratio likely contributing to Bitcoin's new record highs. Sort of hanging around 94,525 at the minute. Introducing IBIT options is expected to increase institutional involvement in Bitcoin as options provide new avenues for investment and risk management strategies. Now, the options trading on Bitcoin can lead to shifts in market structure. We're going to talk about what they are and how they work by enhancing liquidity, offering hedging tools, and allowing for speculation on Bitcoin's price movements, thus influencing market dynamics. People are always going to want to play with their Bitcoin. First day, some people at the top, they encourage us to have fun playing with our Bitcoin. First day options is just shy of 1.9 billion notional exposure via 354,000 contracts, 289,000 were calls, 65,000 were puts. Takeaways. The options were almost certainly part of the move to the new Bitcoin all-time highs today. Seifert added. That's James from Bloomberg. In September, US SEC approved options for several of the 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs on several exchanges. More option products are expected to be available in the coming days. Sort of like the ETF launch, it's just all at once. Exciting times. It's interesting time. That's why it's very likely to get 100K by the end of the week. Whether we do or we don't, for me, it's just buy, stack, and chill, achieving our goals. But the options are financial derivatives that provide the buyer the right, but not the obligation to buy in the case of a call option, or sell, which is the case of a put option. An underlying asset is specified price on or before a certain date. Couple more things. So the market, chill out, mouse. The market structure colloquially describes how trading involves participants like investors and traders, how assets are bought or sold, and the regulations around specific asset classes. Options give more ways to trade, making it easier for professional investors to buy or sell without big price changes. Tracking options data could show what traders think will happen to prices, helping everyone understand market expectations. Near expiry dates, options can also predict and cause price swings, creating a window for short-term trading. The volatility of Bitcoin's probably not going to go away. Joe chiming in here with pure signals. Stop asking about a top. We can go down for a while, but there is no top. That's the whole point. It is the whole point. It's freedom technology. If you've been a channel subscriber for a long time, you're not sleeping easy at night because your cold storage is not set up. The Bitcoin way, the best in the business. If you've got Bitcoin on the exchange, please get it off. It's an IOU. It's as bad as having fiat in the bank, in my opinion. They can help you become a self-sovereign individual. The first 30 minutes is free. The team's absolutely amazing. If you're not sleeping easy, you can sort it. I'd strongly urge everyone to reach out and make that happen. Because CNBC is getting extremely bullish. Like, self-custody is the most important aspect. It's what makes Bitcoin Bitcoin. It's the revolution. Not your keys, not your coins. Please, if your Bitcoin's on an exchange, change that today. In whatever way, change it if you need help the Bitcoin way. Because one day, like $100,000, say that happens Friday, maybe it happens next week, next month. It's coming. and then it's 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. We had CJK on yesterday saying $1 million by the end of next year. I'm not that bullish in the slightest, but 100% convinced and believe we'll get $1 million. And the longer it takes, the better. It's going to come as well. Please, like, it's the only job is not to stuff it up. But they're calling CNBC, calling for $300,000.
Very speculative market. I mean, maybe crypto's hogging all that energy because, I mean, that's been an undeniable move, and it's like strength upon strength and getting strength. So where do you see that headed?
I love Bitcoin, I'm a big bull on it. My longer term count is somewhere around the 200,000 area, maybe even 240. Hope I don't jinx it by saying that, but it's quite remarkable, its trend in itself. And how I get there is a couple different ways. If this year was just a consolidation of 2023's massive rally, from a measured move perspective, that gets you to about 200. The last 3 years in itself was a consolidation in itself, so it's like a base upon a base, and that even gets you up to like the 300s area. So the trend is undeniably strong within the Bitcoin. I want to side on there, and perhaps that will be where we get the speculative excess, but it's also what's fueling a lot of the software stocks as well.
Very speculative market. I mean,
either way, we're in here for a really good time. Like, we're a couple of $100 under the highest price Bitcoin's ever been. If you've been stacking for a while, like, well done to you. If you're new to the space, Bitcoin's always cheap because they're going to continue to print money. Just have like a 4-year time frame, it's better. Otherwise, and over any 4-year time period, looking at Bitcoin's history, it has doubled. So it makes sense just to be able to zoom out. But we are going to go into a stage where it's rapidly going to increase, and we're going to be able to get less Bitcoin per dollar. Let's, like at the moment, for every $1, you get 1,061. Let us know if you're here for like the 4,000s, the 8,000 sat. Actually, no, don't. Don't dox yourself too much. But this number's going to drop down pretty quick. You know, CJ was talking about set parity the other day. The market cap highs have been $1.87 trillion. The fees, yesterday, this was so high. This was around 12. So if you've needed to do UTXO management, please sort it out while they're still cheap. They may come down a little bit. Anytime 4 is good priority. Creeping up a little bit, but yesterday I saw it at 12. Average block time 8 minutes. Oh, the hash rate. I don't know why this is not showing it, but the hash rate absolutely exploded in the last 24 hours. This is wrong. Average block time 8 minutes and 46 seconds, 41 blocks, a little bit too fast. I wonder why that's not showing it. Anyway, Michael Saylor, there's just a couple of things that are happening with Bitcoin adoption. I've got about 3 or 4 tweets to go through, but Chris Hayes, the creator of Rumble, which is, I guess, like a rival to YouTube, put out a thing yesterday. Should Rumble add Bitcoin to its balance sheet? Michael Saylor said, yes, I'd be happy to discuss why and how with you. And then Chris straight away said, DMing you now, which is pretty interesting. It's just like the more and more people see that these large companies are buying Bitcoin, the more they can give themselves permission to do it. I'm not sure, like this had a huge amount of votes, 43,790 votes. Chris putting this in a poll. Should Rumble add Bitcoin to its balance sheet? These 6% here have obviously not read the books. Good pitch for any Bitcoin book, parallel Bitcoin evangelism, whatever it is. It's about getting knowledge, the conviction, not to be that 6%, which is amazing. Like that 6%, that's actually like how 99.9% of the world feel about Bitcoin. It's his audience. It is a little bit biased on X, but that 6%, they definitely need to read the books. If you've got friends, family, pass them out. And that's the joy of Bitcoin. Like this, the purpose, as well as being self-sovereign, to be able to send value anywhere around the world without anyone being able to stop you, get in the way, confiscate it, debase it. They sent $1.2 billion with only $115 worth of fees. Can't do that with gold. You can't do that with fiat. Settled in 10, 15, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes? Final settlement? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It'd take you at least a week with the bank, probably a little bit longer. If you're to send gold, the cost for it to ship that under Armacar, it'd be insane. why Bitcoin's going to win, take over the world. We live in a digital age. We've got like just more companies. Biopharmaceutical company Hoth Therapeutics plans to invest up to $1 million in Bitcoin. It's small, but it's a start. And imagine if like the 4,000 publicly traded companies in the US all just put $1 million on their balance sheet as a start. Bitcoin runs, they start to read the books. That's why sometimes it's good with friends and family. It's just to urge them to buy a little bit so that they're invested and they start putting in the proof of work. But they need to get there by themselves. And then Bitcoin, it's likely to get to $117,000 this year. Bitcoin will be what it'll be. One Bitcoin's one Bitcoin. So hopefully you got there or you're working hard to be able to achieve your goals. That's the news with the fast facts. If you are hanging around for a bit of a banter, g'day. If you haven't already, hit subscribe if we vibe. The news with the fast facts. Got a very special guest coming on tomorrow as well. So bring on the best and the brightest. We've got Lawrence Lepard coming on shortly. Talking to Samson Mao, who's a busy man. But we've got all these guests lined up. Really incredible guests next week as well. Earthbum in the house. Johnny Midas, good to see you this morning. Darren Parry, Jurgen. Andrew Finney, good to see you. Yeah, MicroStrategy is absolutely insane. That's the power of Bitcoin, whether it's on your own company's balance sheet, your personal balance sheet, MicroStrategy's balance sheet. It's the cheat code to life. It's incredible. $111 billion market cap they achieved. I think, let's see if they've gone up. I'll just, market cap, $96.02 billion. I can bring it up there. They've come just back under. It's incredible. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Microsoft, eh? I think it's just massive. It'll really get mainstream media excited, you know. I know Bill Gates he's not a large shareholder. It would be interesting to see if they adopt it, if we heard anything from Bill. I have a feeling that he probably owns a lot, but publicly opposes it. James, good to see you this morning at BTC. PWKK. Morning hodlers from Adelaide. Good to see you, mate. Adelaide is a place that I have not been yet in Australia. Amps, this BTC, I was reading this earlier, this is really interesting. Further to what I posted the other day about Macquarie Bank. So Macquarie Bank's one of the banks here in Australia by an IBIT. The new entrant was Australian Investment Group Macquarie Bank. That's pretty interesting. I'll say something about Macquarie Bank in a sec, which purchased 132,355 shares IBIT worth $4.8 million. What I find most surprising, Amps, about Macquarie Bank is it's helping someone get their fiat out of Macquarie Bank into Bitcoin and fucking massive dramas. All the banks here are bloody painful. They're really trying to make it difficult for people. But it's pretty interesting. They're stopping people from buying Bitcoin or making it difficult to buy Bitcoin. And they're and they're doing it themselves in a roundabout way. Crazy. The positions were reported in the 13F filings pretty much backflipped to their previous statements, matter of time before the big four follow, pretty sure. Everyone, it's pretty interesting. The banks here, it's just the banking system in general winds me up. Matthew J, g'day Bitcoin fam. Good to see you this morning, Matthew. Now, and said Bush Bash is in the house. Let's go. In Australia and supposedly now New Zealand, we have these things called Bush Bashes. It sounds like you go out camping, but you just go somewhere, and it's like an informal. It's probably like there's a meetup, then there'd be a bush bash, and then there's a conference. It's sort of like that middle ground, sort of informal, but people do workshops and talks and just catch up and relax. G'day Sean and all legends. Good to see you, Mill, Michael. Keep crushing it. Everyone out there, what an exciting time. Like if you're just new to Bitcoin, buckle up, well done. If you've been here for a while, I think we're all sorted. The volatility, it's going to be exciting. Like in Australia, we've had 2 days where it's pumped $10,000. We did have a day about 2 months ago where it dumped $10,000. It's going to happen and then it's going to drop like $20,000, $30,000. Maybe we get a little bit higher drops. If it goes to $300,000 this cycle, we're going to have days where it drops $30,000 to $50,000, especially if it moves there quick. You know, if it goes to CJs, million by the end of next year. It just can't be that bullish. Bitcoin will do what it'll do. But if it does that, it could drop $100,000 in a day. It could drop $300,000 in a day. Please just come up for a plan psychologically to get used to the volatility. When I first got in, like 5 years ago now, for like a year, 18 months, every single day, I'd write the percentage that it went up and down. And it was like small amounts of money. And then like the dollar figure, it went up and down. And then after a while, I'm like, if it's up, down, 20, 30, 40%, 50%, couple of days, it's all good. Because you just see the pattern goes down, goes sideways, comes back up, it just stair steps. And over time, it's like that. But whatever allows you to get there, I'd strongly urge you to come up with some type of mental strategy game plan now, please, because it's going to get freaking hectic, like really hectic. I think after 100K, that's when the real party starts. 95K imminent. It sure is. It's like in Australia, and I don't know, it's not. We'd say it's a bee's dick away. I'm pretty sure that's not too profane for people on whatever morning it is. Thursday morning here in Australia. Good morning. My partner and myself have our first appointment with the Bitcoin Way this afternoon at 4 p.m. to start our self-custody process. Darren Parry, well done, taking action. It's fucking so empowering to become a sovereign individual. That's the whole point of Bitcoin. Can you see it? Not really. Maybe I can flip this camera and see next to the hat, that's a Bitcoin node. It's like this big, and it's like a tiny little computer. They're building a Raspberry Pi. You can buy pre-built ones. When you run your Bitcoin through that, you totally become your own bank. When Barack Obama said it's like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket, it's like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket. It's like why you should Bitcoin. I understand like most people here have already started to go down that path. But for the new people, the number go up technology, you're going to get very wealthy, be here, just have a longer term time frame would be my advice. But aside from that, please learn about the technology, the revolution that's Bitcoin. The reason why it is nearing $100,000 isn't because it's just this Ponzi scheme or this magic internet money. It's the best form of money that's ever been engineered in human history. It's only 15 years old. And my belief is the reason it'll go to $1 million, 10 million, CJ talking about $100 million plus, is because it will be the world reserve currency, the world's currency. But that may take 20, 30, 40 years to play out. But I believe that's where we're marching to, because the way that Bitcoin was built made it fair. It made it align with truth. You can't manipulate it. There's set rules and no rulers. It's absolutely amazing. A really good book to be able to like layer in, I guess, the understanding is Genesis book's a great one. Parallel talks about once you've gotten understood Bitcoin, the number go up, then like the economy, like where we're heading. And I think that's a really good book, like Bitcoin price now, $100,000. But like, where are we moving and how is Bitcoin shaping the world in different ways? Please don't just come in here for the number go up like that. That's great, but it's so much deeper than that, and it can change everything. It's almost a spirit. To me, it was a spiritual journey, 100%. Because the way I see it, sorry to go off on a tangent, with fiat dollars, there's a distortion. It's filled with lies, manipulation. It's all about control. So when we're interacting, we're using that and we're basing our reality on fiat because money controls absolutely everything or interacts with everything in our lives. Something's not quite right. We just feel a little bit off because it's money based on lies. And then when we come over to Bitcoin, it can't be manipulated in any way and you use that as your frame, it's 21 million ever. The block clock is the block clock, like it's at whatever block height it is. At the moment, 871,242. The exchange is the exchange, the sats are the sats. Nobody can make any more of it without putting in the proof of work. Changing that, I think it truly changes everything about our lives and allows us to come back to truth. And that's why, Bitcoin fixes this. Fix the money, fix the world. And you get wealthy along the way. But like getting wealthy, losing your health, losing your spirituality, your relationships, your friendships, not becoming a better version of yourself, fucking pointless. Shout out to DBF, $10 super chat, mate. What a perler. I will be paying that forward and doing a donation. I thank you very much. Peer character bowing down, saying thank you. Brother, sister, thank you very much. DBF, that's so kind. And thank you very much. Bitcoin equals freedom. One thing I hear as well, it is nice to be able to pay it forward. If someone's struggling, they're living rough, a lot of people say if you give them cash, it's not empowering them. Probably not. But the point of wealth is also to be able to help those that cannot help themselves. Or maybe it's to be able to spend a little bit of time with them. Maybe it just makes that moment a little bit better. But, you know, at the end of every video, I say, do something nice for yourself and for somebody else. Hopefully, some of you take that on board, because Bitcoin can make the world a better place because it makes us better people. If I could push a message, that's it. Greetings from Poland. Good morning. Poland is stacking sats. Let's go. That's so cool. And what's so amazing about Bitcoin? I'm here in Australia at the southern end of the Great Barrier Reef. We've got people from Sweden, Austria, Germany, the UK, the US, Poland in the house. People from Thailand. Let us know where you're tuned in from. Like, how cool is that? We're all coming here. You know, for myself, I came in here for the number go up side of things. I came in here for greed, and that's what I love about the Bitcoin price going up. It's the best marketing tool in the entire world. Number goes up, people get greedy. They come in, oh man, I heard about Bitcoin at 1,000 or 3,000 or 30,000 or 69,000, whatever it was. That's what, $100,000? No, it's only 94,000. It's okay, you're still early. Like, let's go, buckle up. There will get a point where it gets real frothy, this cycle, like $200,000-$300,000, $400,000, whatever it is. And it starts, maybe that moment's not the best just to be able to FOMO everything in, because you don't have the mindset. Like, it's always, in my opinion, a good time, not financial advice, to FOMO. And if you're just hearing about it, because the more you're invested, I think you're just going to like really start stacking the books, the knowledge. I'm a big reader, and I encourage people to be able to read. There's like, I don't know, there's 100 hours condensed into that. There's probably like 150 hours of like focused research if you were to go out and do it, condensed into that. Yeah, 60, 80 hours condensed into that. Just to be able to like dive deep down those rabbit holes once you're invested, to know what this is. So then when we go through these days, say it dropped 50,000 or 100,000, if we went up to 1 million, you're like, it's all good. It's a good opportunity to be able to buy more. That's my only concern when the price gets like super, super frothy, as people panic. Please have a plan, because it's gonna go nuts, nutting futs, for sure. The wind of change is blowing from the west again. It sure is. OPD in the house. Do the dishes. I always do the dishes. G'day, mate. So I'm a sole trader electrician. Found Bitcoin a year ago. Started seeing it as my super contributions instead of using these dodgy super funds. Fucking legend. Absolute legend. Well done. So many people actually go into self-managed super funds, which is like the 401k pension type system, especially if you like work for an employer, you have a job. Moving that word out of my vocabulary pretty quick. It stands for just over broke, but they serve a purpose. Anyway, you go there. The government doesn't want you to have all your money to be able to choose to invest. They don't trust us here in Australia. So they've got this like pension system, a 401k. A portion of your pay goes into that. It's somewhere between 8, 12.5%. It can be higher, 17.5%. But sort of average, I think, is around like 11.5%. And whatever you get paid is taken away. It's put into this account. And then for the majority of people, they just do nothing. They just trust that investment firm to be able to return them good. And at the moment, they're absolutely shit house, especially compared to Bitcoin. But just in general, not even really keeping up with inflation. So people, like in real terms, are getting a negative return. But anyway, put that aside and we'll stop the slander because they're crap. Anyway, you can go into a self-managed super fund and then you can choose where that money goes. You can't spend until you hit retirement age, but now you've got control over it. For me, 100% Bitcoin. You just keep doing it. Pay myself and then super. And it's a good thing, actually. Like if you're doing it yourself, you're self-employed, or if you're working for an employer doing it. But now you've got control over it. Favorable tax-wise, very much so. It's very similar to a company setup and structure. And it's there for your retirement days, which is pretty good. The government in Australia, though, they are talking about this like $3 million unrealized capital gains, which becomes a little bit fucking scary. Like hopefully there's a lot of pushback. It'd be insanity, like absolutely insanity. That's only like risk with the self-managed super. But if you can't control where that money's going anyway, you're probably still better to study looking into it. But yeah, well done. The self-managed super funds, they do take a while to be able to set up, and definitely talk to a financial advisor or accountant. There's a lot of signatures, way more, like 30x the signatures than filling out a mortgage. And you don't want to screw it up. They take super pretty seriously. I'd like to move my super into Bitcoin as soon as I can. So any info on that, Sean, would be helpful. It's not advice. Please do your own research. There's other things out there. This is not an endorsement. Simply, this is what I do. If you get, can I go to, sorry, just don't want it to bring up my details. Give me a sec. I'll bring it up. So that's just what I do. Caveats. You're grown adults. Do your own research. Big boy pants, ladies and gentlemen, please. So this is what I use. eSuper Fund. It does take quite a while, not to be able to set up. Like you can go through, you can smash out all the information in about an hour. That won't take long. But then for them to do like the rest of the process can take weeks or months, 3 months, 4 months sometimes. 4 months time, Bitcoin price could be at 120, 130, 140, 150. For people with super, my only suggestion though is if you're not retiring for 10 years, if you buy Bitcoin at 200,000, 300,000, under 100,000, does it really matter if it's going to $1 million and you couldn't put that money? It's going to outperform, in my opinion, the average super fund. But eSuper Fund, you can jump on there. Also, Andy from the Bitcoin Way, the Bitcoin Advisor, they're not tied together. My apologies on that. Let me just bring him up. But he came up with a self-managed super. Where is it? He had a website. Yeah, bitcoinsuper.io. So you can go and check this out, bitcoinsuper.io as well. It talks about to be able to do it. It's truly not hard to do. Like eSuper Fund, you can go through and do it yourself if you need help. There's people like that, or your accountant, but definitely get advice from your accountant, your financial advisor, just to make sure it's the right product for you. Don't listen to me. You do you. There's all the caveats I can give with that. But Darren Parry, for me, for everyone that's done it for any period of time, it's been absolutely freaking amazing. It's pretty insane that you can outperform like pretty much every capital allocator in the world's financial market is simply just by saving in Bitcoin. It's not even investing. It's just about selling everything else. Like we trade our time for money. When we get that money in, that fiat currency is just debased, and it's so nice just to be able to have somewhere where we can just put the fiat currency, and over time our purchasing power goes up. As our purchasing power goes up, we get that time back and it compounds. Instead of like within the fiat system, we exchange our time for money and then we save that fiat dollars and then it loses value. So then we need to exchange more and more and more time for more and more fiat currency, and they keep us on the straight race. I believe it's all by design. I believe it's absolutely insidious. The system is broken. It's designed to control us, to be able to keep us slaves. Or you can just break out. You can become self-sovereign. You don't even need to spend your Bitcoin. Just having it in self-custody. It's a fucking revolution. Hopefully you're here for it. $100,000 potentially the end of the week. But the longer it takes, the better it takes. Like the options are fucking huge. They're absolutely massive. MicroStrategy talking to Microsoft, absolutely massive. Even if they don't do anything, just the conversation. I really look forward to Michael's 3 minutes I wonder if it's 2 minutes 59 or it's like bang on 3 minutes. I reckon he's going to make the most of it. But it's exciting times and you're going to get fabulously wealthy, but please be here for the revolution. And the way that we fix the world by using better money is in self-custody. It has to be. Please don't be lazy. Don't leave it on the exchange. That's like your one job is not to fuck it up. And the reason being, like, if you're new here, people like, why is he saying this? Last year, last cycle, like, they just keep going down. But like the first Bitcoin exchange to fail was Mt. Gox. People are like waiting 10 years later to get some of their Bitcoin back. 10 years. Like, that's absolutely insane. Then we had like 3AC, 3 Arrows Capital, FTX, BlockFi. There's like Celsius. FTX was absolutely huge. I'm sure you probably heard about FTX. This guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, he's in jail. I believe Caroline Ellison's still in jail as well. But they're just, whether it's a Bitcoin-only exchange or an altcoin, like they sell the other shitcoins. I'm trying not to blasphemize them too much. But those degenerate gambles, they're the cryptocurrencies. That's the correct word for them. I just think about them as shitcoins, but that's my bias. None of them, they might be safe. Probably majority of them are safe. But if you get unlucky by leaving them on the ones that aren't safe, it's too late. You can't get it. They can't make any more Bitcoin. And it's not hard. It's not expensive, especially as your net worth increases. Start with the single sig. It doesn't have to be. My recommendation is it's air gapped, it's Bitcoin only, and it's open source. It doesn't have to be. You can use closed source, but it's better to know, like, it needs to be verifiable. Don't trust verify. With that, and then go into multi-sig from there. But you can do like baby steps. But the first step, please, is learn to be able to get it off the exchange. And it's better while the fees are cheap, while the price is lower. As the price gets higher and higher, and those exchanges that are going to go bust this cycle, I don't know what ones they are, but we're going to get some go bust. It'll be when we have higher prices, when you really want it, when people are coming in and they're lending out, they're rehypothecating the coins. Maybe it never happens. Maybe no exchanges ever go down again. Maybe, like, hopefully that's the case. Because when it happens, it's absolutely devastating. People's lives get destroyed. People lose their lives over it. Money, financial stress, the biggest stress that affects marriages, our psychological, our spiritual health, our physical health, stress in general. But there is a solution. It's a little bit new, takes a little bit of work, but please, like, if you take one thing away from watching my show, if today's day one, you've been watching me for the last couple of years, it's Bitcoin and self-custody. That's all we're here for. That's how we separate money from state. That's how we become self-sovereign ourselves. That's how we keep the kleptocrats in line. It's how you can meme Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset into existence by holding in self-custody. And then you don't need to fear confiscation, debasement, rehypothecation, to not have them there when you need them. Please, if it's one thing, that's all I ask, is learn in whatever way possible. If you need help, the Bitcoin way. But you can do it, and you should do it. That's the message of the channel. There's 100,000, 2, 3, $1 million. It's going to $1 million. I'm not interested in anything else. Take a couple of years. Maybe we get there next year. Maybe it's 2030. Mark Moss reckons by 2030, 2034, 2 to 3 million US. That's insane. It's like $5 million Australian. Once it gets there, it's going to keep going. It's no benefit to you if it's non-self-custody. On that note, please do something nice for yourself. There's somebody else out there. Pay it forward. We'll see you tomorrow. Surprise guest. Epic guest. We'll see you there. Be blessed. Peace.
Everything seemed normal. Successful businesses were functioning as they usually should. Money was being placed in the bank as savings. Life was good. Nobody notices anything funny. But 2008 hits and all hell breaks loose. Everything we thought about money and the banking was a complete lie, a complete sham, a Ponzi, a scam. The whole world fell apart and a lot of people got hurt financially. And as a result of this, the Bitcoin white paper was born. but yet the same mistakes keep happening over and over again. People are leaving money on their institutions up until the last straw, FTX, when billions of dollars were lost, families were decimated, life savings were completely wiped, and people were wondering what on earth just happened. We have an option to take full custody of our funds, and that's Bitcoin. We just have to learn the process. It's not hard. It's just something we've never had to do before. Otherwise, the same mistakes are going to keep repeating themselves, and people are going to continue to get hurt over and over and over until they learn you need to exit the system in order to protect yourselves and your loved ones.